Does that make you uncomfortable, given the fact that most libertarians I know are disturbed about any entanglement between the government and religion?
Well, it bothers me to a degree. I happen to be a believer. I'm a Christian, and I do write about it, but I specifically say I don't carry my religion on my sleeve. I mean, the idea of a theocracy very much annoys me.
Do you see Michael Huckabee in that direction?
I don't. He hasn't said anything specifically that I would say we got to defeat Mike Huckabee because I think he's a theocrat. I haven't said that, but I think that there are a lot of people who may interpret it that way. I mean, the idea of a theocracy very much annoys me. I mean, the idea of a theocracy very much annoys me. I mean, the idea of a theocracy very much annoys me.
Institutions left in society to stand up for a country that is given rights under God, not any God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That God, and that God who gave us rights also gave us a responsibility and laws by which our civil laws have to comport with. A higher law, God's law. I've been out there doing that. I've been out there fighting these battles again on religious liberty, because those two institutions were the church and the family. And those are the two things that will suffer most if gay marriage is put in place. They will undermine marriage, which will undermine the family, and they will attack, as they are already, religious liberty in this country. We see it happening with Don't Ask, Don't Tell and the chaplaincy in the military. I was out there on the front line, and that's why at every debate, you might notice I don't get a lot of questions at the debates, except the moral cultural questions. I get them all. Every single one of them are directed at me. And my response is, bring them on. I'm happy to take those questions. I'm happy to stand up and talk about why I believe that the exception for rape should not be there. And if you recall, I answered that question in Ames when Byron York said, "Are you too extreme to be president because you do not believe in an exception for rape?" My answer was, "Byron, do you know that recently the United States Supreme Court ruled that a rapist, someone convicted of rape, could not be executed under the Constitution because it would be cruel and unusual punishment. Yet, if a child is conceived as a result of that rape, the United States Supreme Court says that innocent child can be executed."
Good. Good.
This country is bankrupt morally if we allow rapists to walk free and innocent children to be murdered.
I think when you defend freedom, you defend freedom of choice, and you can't be picking and choosing how people use those freedoms. So if they do things that you don't like and you might find morally repugnant, I as an individual, I don't make that judgment. So I don't believe government can legislate virtue. I can reject it personally and preach against it, whether it's drugs or prostitution, but my solution comes from my personal behavior with myself and how I raise my children. But whether it's personal behavior or economic behavior, I want people to have freedom of choice.
Adults, you seem to be saying, own their own bodies, and if a woman wants to rent hers out, that's her business. If she wants or he wants to smoke crack.
Yeah, I think it's tragic, and matter of fact, I think the war on drugs which has caused the price of drugs to go up, and we treat them as criminals rather than sick people, we have pushed a lot of people into prostitution. So prostitution is related to the mistakes we've made in the drug war. But you know, I think people, you know, make bad choices in religion and philosophy, but we don't regulate their thinking or their religious beliefs that they're not harming other people. That's why I defend this position that individuals should protect themselves. Governments can't protect individuals from themselves. It's just impossible. Otherwise, they become a tyrannical state.
I think it really talks about what we were just talking about, which is understanding that America is a country that was founded on the concept that our rights come to us from our Creator. Rights come to us from God. And that when God gives us rights, He doesn't say, well, here are your rights, just do whatever you want to do with them. That in fact He has laws that we must abide by. Now, unlike Islam, where the higher law and the civil law are the same, in our case, we have civil laws, but our civil laws have to comport with the higher law. Our civil laws have to, and that's why the issue of abortion, as long as abortion is legal, at least according to the Supreme Court, legal in this country, we will never have rest, because that law does not comport with God's law, which says that all life has value. All life is created by, I knew you in the womb. Our country is based on a moral enterprise. Gay marriage is wrong. As Abraham Lincoln said, the states do not have the right to do wrong. And so there are folks here who said that states can do this and I won't get involved in that. I will get involved in that, because states, as a president, I will get involved because the states do not have the right to undermine the basic fundamental values that hold this country together.
In 2007, in an interview, you were asked, should gays be allowed to marry? You said, quote, sure, they can do whatever they want and call it whatever they want. Are you advocating legalizing gay marriage in this country?
Well, matter of fact, I spent a whole chapter in a new book I've written on marriage, and I think it's very important, seeing that I've been married for 53, 54 years now, but I think the government should just be out of it. I think it should be done by the church or private contract, and we shouldn't have this argument, who's married and who isn't married. I have my standards, but I shouldn't have to impose my standards on others. Others have standards, and they have no right to impose their marriage standards on me, and I just don't like it.
All the harms from like the federal government and you know, coercion and all this stuff, using force, and you emphasize individual responsibility and freedom. So, and I know you stand for the Constitution, but what do you say to people who advocate for self-government rather than a return to the Constitution? Just like,
great, I'm fine, I think that's really what my goal is. Isn't it interesting that if you have a government, you know, they will want us all to be socialistic and use us, but they will never allow an enclave go and become libertarian and just accept nothing, receive nothing, accept no obligations. But you know, if we had a libertarian society, we'd have no qualms. I mean, if a group of people want to go over and run things socialistic, like you've had some of these in our early history. I mean, They literally lived as socialist enclaves, and as long as they didn't have to live off us. I mean, even today, the people, the Amish and other like that, they'd like to be left alone, and they should never be required to, you know, be paying Social Security or income tax. But so libertarianism is much more tolerant than socialism. Socialism has to live off those who produce, and that's why they have to use coercion.
That's right.